Go. All right, let's everybody get in the mood. Let's raise the vibration. And before we talk to Maya, we're going to get happy.
Oh, very happy.
All right, so there we go. We're all in a great mood. And Maya's here and dancing along with us. What a beautiful spirit and energy is Maya Angelou. She's already really close. So when that happens, I kind of get emotional. I'm not sad. I'm just overwhelmed with love. So she has come to both Bubba and I. And let me introduce our guest host today, Mr. Bubba Gros from Louisiana. We're so happy to have him asking questions because he is a big Maya fan.
Yes. Thank you.
You are welcome. Maya says she's a big fan of yours as well, Bubba.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So she liked our song. She was dancing along with us and is so excited to be here for this interview. So she says, she puts her hands together like this and she says, let's get it poppin'.
So funny, I just did the same thing.
Did you? Yeah. Oh. All right. So she's ready. And I'm ready whenever you are.
Yes. All right, well, first question I have, and we're just going to jump right into it, is how do we find in our humanness how to love those who have hurt us deep, like really deeply?
And she says, yes, you go for the hardest, the first question.
Yeah.
So to remember that the ones that have hurt us the most and have cut the deepest have also agreed to give us the biggest lessons that we asked for. And don't ever forget that we have asked for every single lesson before we got to this incarnation. And while it hurts so bad here, don't forget that we came here to experience emotions. What do you do with those emotions? And that is what sets you apart from everybody else. You can turn inward and have that hurt eat you alive. Or you can turn that into some sort of creation, like I turned mine into poetry, into books. So when you can transmute that that hurt into love, you will be free of that contract and that situation, never to have it darken your doorstep. And she laughs at that again.
Wow, great. Also, Renee Rogers wants to know, is literature still something that you're working on?
Renee, what a great question. And that is one of my incredible joys that I'm over on this side, we'll call it, that I can help so many at one time. There are so many aspiring literary artists that you're going to come see that have looked at my work, and I sit there with them and I inspire them and I place thoughts in their head. I love it. That is one of my greatest joys here.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions from a lot of people. So, well, I have a question myself. Have you reincarnated, or will you do so, and when?
Well, I have not yet reincarnated. I'm still enjoying not having to do anything and being a part of the whole. As a part of the whole, I know everything. I'm a part of the entire energy. Where you're at, you're there to experience little parts of what you bring back to the whole. At some point, yes, I imagine I will reincarnate, but it'll be the new Earth. It won't be the one now.
And also, who were you before Maya Angelou in a past life?
Well, so funny you asked this because I had this conversation with her earlier, and she showed me scenes of being deaf, mute, and blind before Helen Keller, and being trapped into her own world. But it wasn't that she wasn't intelligent. She was a female. She's very intelligent.
And that's funny because it kind of plays a role, I guess. What I would be thinking, it kind of plays a role into she hadn't spoken for 5 years, and she read so many books in the libraries and stuff. So she kind of like was a mute for 5 years.
She says, "Oh yes, I didn't know that. I'm a little surprised." But she says, "Oh yes, that was all a part of it." And I revisited that lifetime when I would not talk. But now, looking back, it is and was a gesture of finding who I was and how I could create and communicate. That last lifetime was torturous for me to have all these beautiful thoughts and stories and experiences with spirit that I couldn't communicate to anyone. That was very difficult. So I had to re-experience that in this lifetime to know the full effect of the freedom of my speech and my creation, and to know the full effect that it has on people in creation.
Wow. Well, and you were 7.5 years old and was raped, which was why you didn't speak for 5 years, because whenever the guy that raped you went to prison or jail, when he got out, he was beaten to death and he died. You thought that it was your fault. That's why you didn't speak for 5 years. So, my question is, how did you feel about, did you feel forgiveness right away after he's done these horrible things to you? I mean, at that age?
She says not right away. I was so scared. That was a horrific experience for me as a little girl. And I spoke to him and I said hello, and I was so afraid that if I spoke to another man, the same thing would happen. And I never wanted violence that hurt me. And I did feel responsible. As a child, it was very difficult to process responsibility and the trauma. But that was all part of the experience I chose, and look where it brought me. And yes, I forgive him, and it didn't take long for me to forgive him. It took longer for me to forgive me for what they did to him.
Wow. Let's see. We have another audience question. If I can find, from Mark Lambert. This is from Maya. Does she think in hindsight that her view of the world was accurate? And does she see the continent of Africa united in the future?
She says, Mark, I see the earth united in the future, and all the people of the earth united. In that, and to that end, every nation, including Africa, will come together. That's the movement that's going on now. I'm sorry, what was the other part of his question? She's showing me pictures and I got distracted.
Yes, there is another part. Now I didn't even read yet. There was another part. I have heard in other channels that it will be a leader of the world in many categories, sometimes in the next 1 or 2 generations. That we as a country will eventually adopt some of their ideas.
So she says that, all of this hullabaloo about Donald Trump and all the unrest that goes on today is a catalyst for that to happen. And yes, there has to be change. And we will learn from other expanded points of view. That catalyst that we're experiencing now, all this change, is going to make it painfully obvious that things have to be different if we expect different results.
Yes. Wow. Okay, I have a question from Caroline McLemore. You have shown us that healing comes from love, beginning with self-love. Please guide us in how we can each day develop this love for ourselves.
She says, great question, Caroline. I'm going to give this to all of you, and it's a secret. How to develop self-love. Can we all agree that we are children of God, right? Sparks of source energy. In effect, we are God.
Yes.
Right? Do we love God? Well, sure, we love God, the Almighty. Well, if we love God, then we have to love ourselves. Because if we don't love ourselves, we don't love God. Source energy and us, our little sparks that source energy is that have been sent here, are one and the same. So to not love yourself is to not love source energy. How beautiful is it for source energy to come into us? If we could see the gorgeous beauty of our souls from the other side as sparks of source energy, we would never doubt again. How amazing and wonderful that we are. And in that self-love, when you're doubting that, when you have that, I suck, I don't do this right, my life, nothing happens right. Remember, that's a conversation with the universe and with yourself. And that's what you attract. Focus on what you want. So if you want to be self-love, remember that you're source, and source is you, and source is love. Learn to love yourself as the same.
Amen.
That was pretty deep. So Maya presents herself as in her early 50s, and that's how I see her, with glasses on. I know she wore those at the end. I have seen a picture. And it's funny because, we all have our little mental pictures, and they present themselves to whatever age it is that they're comfortable with or they like. And she was, and I asked her why, was she presenting this? And she says, well, my childhood was kind of rough. I don't associate with that. My 20s, 30s, and having kids was kind of rough. I finally came into my own and into my true self at around this age. And that's why I present myself as this.
Amazing woman.
Amazing woman. And she was with me yesterday and was just giving me so much love and showing me scenes from her life, and was excited to be here to talk about anything and everything that we wanted to. And I know, Bubba, that she was with you too, so why don't you tell everybody?
Yes. Well, it was amazing because 2:30 in the morning, sound asleep, my TV comes on, full blast, and it's Maya Angelou speaking, reading her poetry, and then it happened again at 7 o'clock this morning. So I just knew she was there. I mean, John, at 7 o'clock this morning, I was at work. John texted me, the second time it happened, John texted me and said, guess what? It happened again, and Maya was on the TV, full blast.
Yeah.
Like, yes, loving it.
I know. It's amazing. There's no such thing as coincidence. And I don't think there's any such thing as Maya Angelou TV either, that it could be
Exactly.
like an accident or something like that. She wanted to talk about Oprah too. I don't know if anybody asked any questions, but she just wanted to take a minute to say how grateful she was for Oprah to give her the vehicle to help other people understand how she reconciled what happened in her life and turned it into creation. And that she's very proud of her very dear friend for the work that she does in many forums. And that was pivotal for her work when Oprah and her became friends.
It's so funny that you mentioned Oprah because before we started this, I watched the video of Oprah's life class, and she was with Maya.
Oh.
So this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she was talking to me about her yesterday, and, you know, they just kind of, like, hang out. She's been hanging out with me since she knew we were going to do this, and I get just little scenes and little parts of poetry. And what the other thing that she wanted me to tell everybody is that those of you who don't have self-love and you're working on that, you know, poetry was her release. Write that down. Whatever you're feeling, it might not make sense or sound pretty to you at this point, but it'll be so cathartic to get it out, and at some point you may turn that into poetry and create from the pain something beautiful.
Yes. I have another question. Where her work with Tyler Perry, did she produce? How involved was she in all his productions?
She's talking about how much she enjoys Tyler because of his sense of humor, that he always made her laugh. And that laughter is the key to healing. And that he produces everything. However, she was kind of like a grandmotherly figure, an advisor to him. Because his life was not so easy either as a young man coming up. And they're still very connected. She still inspires him. She's talking about him having a child, and that she's with the child, and the child says things that blows his mind, or will, if this child is younger. She says, "Isn't that, you know, I guess this kid isn't that old," and that she's still there. She says, "My connection doesn't end." She adores his sense of humor.
She has a very good sense of humor. I watch all her YouTube videos, and even in her poetry, she has the best sense of humor. Just comes out.
Yes.
It's amazing.
She said, "Thank you."
You're welcome.
She said, "I thought I was funny."
Yes, she was. And another question, with the mess that happened last year with the black men getting killed by the police and the shootings, and any advice you can give us to help us love one another, to see past each other's skin color?
She says that the biggest illusion is that we are not one. The biggest illusion is that your skin color makes you different. That your sexual orientation makes you different. That your eye color makes you different. She says there's always going to be people that find something to hate about. And that everybody is important. And the only way to raise the vibration is to see past the differences. She's showing me scenes of police officers on the street in gear and black men coming up and they're praying together.
Wow.
She says we need more of that.
Definitely.
She says we all just got to realize we're all just regular people, you know, like that John Legend song. We're just regular people.
Yeah.
And nobody's better than one another. And pray, man, just pray. Pray is like a song to God, and that helps heal and knit together the fabric of humanity. She's a poet, even now.
Yes.
She said love's the only way. Love is the only way. Like Martin Luther King said, only light can drive out darkness.
Right. Is there anything else she can share with us? New poetry, or is there anything that she can tell us? Can she tell us, does she see the world, people coming together a lot more?
Oh yes, very much so. The problem is that it is not newsworthy, that you don't notice it as much. But yes, because of the internet, it's opened up to so many people. But the press only wants to magnify that which is negative because everybody is drawn to it rather than that which is positive. But it's going on every day in every community, and as much as you hear about the negative, there's 10 times positive going on.
Great. That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, she's saying that's how it happens, and I'm just seeing all these sparks, which knit back the fabric, like she said, of humanity. And she said her poetry is all of love and acceptance, and what she does is inspire now. Not that she works on anything new for herself. She says, I don't mean to sound a little pompous, but I know it all. You know, I have this in me. It's not my job now to do it. It's my job now to inspire it. I like that.
Yes, that's really awesome. I was trying to think. She says something about when a man with no shirt offers you a shirt. Do you remember what she said about that? She said it in one of her, I think to a graduation class, a college graduation class or something.
Be wary if a man with no shirt offers you one.
Yeah, be wary if a man with no shirt offers you a shirt, because that means he doesn't love himself before he loves somebody else. That's it.
Oh, she says very nice. She's glad that somebody got that
That's right.
association, because mine immediately went to, there's a man with no shirt, go run your hand through his hair. I'm like, whoa, oh yeah, huh. All right. All right. So she Her biggest message is to write everything down. To exercise and create by writing it down. And not only does it help pull out stuck energy, is what she's calling it, but it's also helpful for other people to see that they're not the only ones going through the same thing and they relate to the experience. So through your own pain and darkness, you help other people. And there can be nothing better in the world than helping another soul out of darkness.
Perfect.
She's making me cry again. She's so sweet. And she just gave me a hug. This is my second one from her today. And what a hug feels like, let me tell you how I experienced this. Around my shoulder, I feel, not like you would feel somebody like obviously squeeze you, but heat. I feel heat and I feel pressure. And a lot of times I'll feel like they play with my hair and I'll feel I'll feel tingles. And that's what she did. She put her face here and she hugged me for the second time today.
Rainbows in the clouds.
Oh, she says that sounds like a good poem start. All right, so any more questions for our friend, lovely Maya?
I think that is all the questions I have. I know that we might have one more.
Okay.
Okay. This one is from Sarah. I'm going to try to say this last name. Kujawa.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. She says, I have so much love and respect for you. Do you have any encouraging words from your perspective now to help any of the listeners who are facing their own fears and worries, and for those who have doubts and struggles with just being able to be their true self?
Okay, so first she wants to talk about fear. Fear is the great repressor of creation. Because once you start to be frightened of something, it stops the energy that would flow. I want you to examine why you're fearful or what you're fearful of, and take that to the worst thing. What's the worst that could happen? And usually, it's not that bad. Everything that lives in your mind is a reality. If this fearful thing cannot hurt you, you've conquered that and you can live in your own truth. Living your own truth is a daily exercise. And the universe gives you an opportunity to tell your truth every day. Your truth can change every day. As so can your own truth change every day, and that's okay. You find your way to where you're comfortable. Stop judging yourself. Stop being fearful. Live out loud. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Live out loud, is what she said.
So true. So true. That's what I've been doing, and I'm loving it, and it works.
It works. Makes you happy.
Oh, yes.
Happiness is what we're here for.
Happy.
Yeah, like our song. Happy.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, terrific. I guess that will end our session for today's coffee talk. Thank you so much.
Do we have Eric in the house?
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, he's really annoyed with me right now because he goes, "You always forget me, huh?"
He knows I've been waiting for his question.
He's in the house. He's always in the house, and like I said, he's really annoyed with me because I always forget to ask. And it's Eric's the reason I'm here today, and I want to pay tribute and kudos and make sure that he gets his questions if he has one because he's always with me. Even
And
if
I
he's,
do too because he is always with me and he brought me to the place I am today.
he says, he said, "What up, Bubba?" So, Mr. Man, do we have a question for the beautiful Miss Maya Angelou? He asked her what it was like to be silent for 5 years, for 5 whole years, he says. Because he goes, "I don't think I could have done 5 whole years."
Yeah, great question.
She says, Maya says that it relieved her of a big responsibility. And that was the responsibility to convey hurtful and extremely painful events to the world. And she said they were extremely painful for her as a child because she felt so connected and responsible for what had happened. She says as a child they were taken to church and they were told that the worst thing in the world was to kill somebody or to have somebody killed. And that's what she was most frightened of because she was told that if she killed anybody, she'd go to hell. Maybe even jail. And that's what she was so frightened of as a kid.
Yeah.
So it was a relief for her not to speak for that amount of time, and it gave her the inward thought to be able to dig out of this even as a young girl. She said it gave me the ability to tune into myself. I couldn't handle the outside world and their thoughts of me. She says, I was young, and even rape victims that are older have this guilt that is not sensical because you know it's not your fault, but it's not something that you can help. And then she comes out and she goes, but I did it. That's what happened for me. That's what happened for me. I did it, and I channeled it through my books and my poetry. And that's the end of her. That's the end of that one. She's just like, okay.
Yes. Well, thank you for the question, Eric. That was interesting. I wanted to know the same thing.
Oh, he says it's all good, man. Oh, good. He's very respectful of Maya, but she's looking at me and said she goes, "Oh no, he farts in front of me too."
Oh, yeah. Good at that.
I don't care who you are, she said. Farts are funny.
Yes. Just not at a funeral.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who are you gonna blame that on?
Oh, he knows.
The dead guy.
Yeah.
It was just a little leftover there. Oh, too funny. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm giving them and blowing them kisses goodbye. Thank you
y'all
so much.
Goodbye.